Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 6 of my Android development tutorial. In this part of the tutorial, we're going to create an XML parsing multiple activity stock quote picker. Now for this tutorial, I wanted to cover a ton of different things. So last night I sat down, created this whole program, which you're going to see here in a second. And my main goal here was to teach you how to do countless numbers of things all in one little tiny app that does some really cool things. So some of the things I'm going to cover include how to use the table layout, how to dynamically fill scroll views, which are really cool, how to save key value pairs, so if your app closes and then reopens, they'll still be there. I'm going to review ClickListeners again. I'm going to show you how to use intents to open up other applications. I'm going to show you how to force close the keyboard. I'm going to show you how to use alert dialog boxes. I'm going to show you how to start other activities and pass information into those activities. We're going to review the Yahoo Web Service, and I'm going to show you how to grab XML data and parse it using YQL. I'm going to review the AsyncTask class and show you how to use threads whenever you want to do any type of processing in the background, like parsing XML. And of course, I'm going to show you how to parse XML data using the DOM, and eventually I'm probably going to show you how to parse XML data in the other different ways of doing it, and a whole bunch more. So let's get into it. So here is basically our little application. I already created it here so I could show it to you right from the very beginning. And what it's going to allow you to do is enter a stock symbol, and it's going to get you a quote, and it's also going to provide you with the opportunity to click a button and jump out and get news about the stock. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to zoom out here. If you can't see this, it's recorded in 1080p, so you can do whatever you want. Alright, so let's say I wanted to get some information on Apple. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to type in the symbol for Apple, hit done, and then hit enter. And it's going to pop up this little window with the little symbol that I put inside of there. This tutorial is all about showing you how to do things. It's not about making everything beautiful. Then what you're going to be able to do is hit quote, and a whole bunch of information is going to get pulled from the internet and displayed on your screen in regards to the Apple stock. And of course, you're going to be able to come back here, hit the back button. And another little thing I built into it is how to create a new activity with an outside application. So if you click on web, what that's going to do is it's going to show you all sorts of information in regards to Apple's stock on Yahoo's financial page. Sorry if that's a little bit blurry. And there you go. There's the whole entire thing. And it does a whole bunch of other things in the background. Now, where I'm going to be pulling all this information from is from developer.yahoo.com/YQL/console, or this is going to be the tool anyway that I'm going to use to look up all the different web services that are available. And there are a ton of them. So if you come over here inside of this website, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Show Community Tables. So click on that guy. And then it is going to show me a whole ton of different things that I'm going to be able to search through. So I got this all blown up here, so it's a little bit wacky. But you can pull information using this tool from Amazon and Answers.com and Netflix and BBC and BizRate and blah, 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 blah. This thing is huge. Craigslist, Foursquare. There is just a never-ending supply of information you can pull from. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on Yahoo. Whoop, went over Yahoo. There's Yahoo, and I'm going to click on that guy. And then inside of this, I'm going to specifically look for finance quote and click on that. And as you can see, it popped up this nice little YQL query for me. And if I just want specific information on Microsoft like it has here, I can just hit test. And I'm going to be using XML as you see, but you could be able to use JSON if that would be preferable to you. And I'm also going to shut off diagnostics. And if I do all that, you're going to see here, if I scroll down, it's going to pop up this nice little XML file that I'm going to be able to parse information out of. So let's say I want to get the change so far for the day in the price, and the day's low, the day's high, the yearly low, the yearly high. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all that information and I am going to save it inside of a text file. So these are going to be all the different things that I'm going to want to create inside of my interface. So just remember these guys, and you might actually want to take some time here and write them down, because I have them in front of me on a piece of paper, and it might really help you if you wrote them down yourself. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be working with, so let's start writing that code. Okay, so inside of Eclipse here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this stock quote, and I'm just going to click on new and then go Android application project. And inside of application name, I'm going to go stock quote. And if you want all the finished code, I'm not going to cover it all, of course, in this tutorial, but if you want it all right now, I have a link in the description, and you can go get it all right now if you don't want to wait. And of course, it's all free. So I'm going to type in new think tank. I'm going to let everything else here be exactly the same as it was before. Hit next. Let everything on this screen also be the same, and hit next. Let the icon it picks be okay there. I'm going to let everything be blank activity, create activity, just like that. And then finally, I'm just going to let this be called main activity. I don't need to change anything for any reason there. And then hit finish. And that's going to create our project for us. And there it is. You've seen this before. So now I'm going to use the table layout. And if I want to change this from relative layout, which it is right now, I'm just going to right click on this. And I'm going to scroll down here to change layout. And that's going to pop up a little window. And I'm going to come down here and go table layout. And then hit OK. All right, now I'm using a table layout in this situation because a table layout is awesome in regards to having everything automatically scale for you directly depending upon the size of device you're using, whether it's a tablet, phone, whatever. It automatically scales really nice. Now before I actually go in here and start messing with this thing, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to take these guys that I told you about previously, and I'm actually going to save a whole bunch of information in regards to my interface inside of values. Click over here, come over to strings.xml and open that guy up. And there you can see, and then I'm going to go down to strings.xml and click on that tab and start messing with the actual code inside of here. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of hello world because I don't need that. And then I'm going to try to cheat here a little bit. Normally I have a little pen drawing that's going to show exactly what I want each activity screen to look like. But since I already created them, I might as well just open them up directly inside of here. So here's activity main, and this is basically what we're going to be designing, which is this guy. So I'm going to need enter symbol, I'm going to need enter there, I'm going to need a editable text area, I'm going to have this little box be up here, then I'm going to have a scroll view, and then delete all symbols. So you can either draw that out there, or of course hit pause in the screen, or you can just watch me do it. I'll do my best to explain what's going on. So here is my layout, and I'm just going to come in here and click on that. I'm just going to get rid of this altogether. So just delete. There it is. It's gone. Then what I'm going to do is jump over into strings.xml, and I'm going to start adding some different things inside here. So what do we need? We need to have a line of text that says enter symbol. And we're doing this so that our app will work with any different type of language you can imagine. And yes, I'm going to get into how to translate later on, and it's just this tutorial is so packed with information I decided not to cover that. Alright, so I want to have enter symbol be printed out on the screen. And I'm going to do this for all of the different pieces of text that I'm going to have in all my activities. So then I'm also going to want them to enter their stock symbol, and that's actually going to be the enter button. So I'm just going to click on that. The line of text is going to represent the scroll view, which we're going to make in a little bit. I'm going to put stock symbols and quotes printed just like you saw in the previous screen whenever I showed you what a finished product looks like. And then we're going to have change stock symbol. Then we'll have OK. And that's going to be used for our dialog boxes whenever we get into those. And then we'll have cancel, of course. Anytime you have a dialog box, you're going to use these two things. And then let's have our little message from our dialog box. So it's going to be missing stock symbol. And I don't know, let's just say enter a stock symbol. So all I'm doing here is just putting in all the text that's going to be needed for my applications or my activities. And so that I don't waste your time, there are all of the different strings that I saved inside of string XML. And all they are, like I said again, is just all the strings I'm going to need for my application. So now that I got all those defined, I can close strings.xml. And in case you forgot, strings.xml is in the values folder, and the values folder is inside of the layout folder inside of Eclipse, and then the layout folder is inside of RES. So there it is. That's everything. So now that I have that defined, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this text view. And right now I'm inside of activity main. This is going to be the thing that pops up on the screen whenever they start your application. And because this is a table layout, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bunch of table rows. And how you do that is you go layouts and you come to table row. And to use the table row, I'm just going to drag it out here and I'm just going to drop it inside of there. Now that I have that set up, what I'm going to need to do is actually put a text field inside of there, or a text view. So I'm just going to grab that guy, drag him over here, drop him inside of there. And another thing I'm going to do here quickly before I get into that is I'm going to actually create a colors.xml file inside of values. So I'm just going to right click on that and I'm going to go new. And I'm just going to scroll down here until I get to Android XML file. Click on that. And then this guy pops up and I'm going to go colors.xml. And this is where I'm going to save all my colors, and I'm just going to hit finish, and there it opens up. Now, if you want to define colors, well, this is where I do it on the web. I just go to Wikipedia. If you just type in wiki colors, this thing will pop up. And then I come through here and I think about colors that I might want to use. So let's say I want to use arrow blue. Well, there it is, and there is the hex code for it. So let's just create that right now. So I'm just going to copy that, pop over here, and if you want to define a color, you're just going to go color name is equal to, and I'm going to call this arrow blue right like that. Close that, and then come in here and paste in the hex code. And there it is. You just defined a color. And let's say that I want to define a couple more of these colors. Come over here. Let's say that I want to try like an egg color. There's eggshell. That works. I'm just going to copy this hex code right there, paste it in there, and there's eggshell. It makes it real easy to go and change colors across your whole entire interface. And of course you could come in here and do something simple like black, which is just a whole bunch of zeros. There you go. So there's all my colors defined in colors.xml. And I'll be able to pull those out, and I'll show you how I pull them out here in a second. That brings us back into activity main. Now that I have this guy selected, text view, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to get rid of this 1 there and change this to an uppercase T. And I normally give these very verbose names. And I'm going to call this enter symbol text view. And if you click out of there, and I'm not going to waste your time going through and showing you how to make all these because it's just a repetitive task. And then I can come over here into the text area, click on this guy, and stock symbol is the name. And there you can see now it says enter symbol. And for now, that's all I'm going to do with that. Now, I'm also going to want them to be able to come in here and actually enter a stock symbol. So I'm going to go into text fields, and I'm going to grab one of these guys, just a plain editable text area, and I'm going to drop it in there inside of my table row. Come over here again. It's selected, editable text area, and this guy is going to be called stock symbol edit text. Hit OK again. It's going to update everything. Then come back over into the text area and leave it blank. I don't want it to do anything right now. But I'm hating the way that this is all laid out here because the editable text area is completely filling this in. Well, in that situation, I like to actually go into the code. So I'm just going to click on this tab, open this guy up, and I'm going to go through and explain everything. Now, the table row, if you want it to automatically size to the full width of your device, well, it's real simple. You just go in where it says wrap content and change that to match parent. That's one trick. And for the most part, that's going to be the only trick you're going to need for table rows. All this other stuff up here is all perfectly fine. The text view, I don't need to have match parent because I don't want it to fill out the whole entire screen, so I'm going to leave that completely alone. And then down here with edit text, this guy right here, Android EMS, what that means is it's defining that the text size of the text that goes into this editable text area is going to be based off of the specified point size for your device. So it's going to automatically scale for you. So that's why you want to use that. And then request focus, whenever you put that inside of one of these edit text areas, that means when the application starts, it's going to get the focus automatically. And anytime an editable text area gets focused, that also means that the keyboard's going to pop up. And also here with the editable text area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Android : and go layout weight is equal to 1. And basically, if you don't have any other components inside of your table row, that means the editable text area is just going to fill all the space that's available. However, in the situation like, well, let's say we had 2, just like we do here, where we have text view and we also have edit text. Well, if you would want the text view to say only get 1/3 of the available area inside of the table row, well, you would give it Android layout weight of 1. So it would get 1/3, and then the editable text area you would give 2. And by doing that, what's going to happen is text view would get 1/3 because there's only 3 available numbers, and the editable text area would get the 2/3 that remained. But in this situation, we're just going to let that exactly the way it is. If that didn't make any sense, please leave a question in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to elaborate on that. Another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Android input type is equal to text. And there we go. Don't know why that didn't go in there. I probably pulled over the wrong editable text area, but no problem. It's solved now. And then the other thing that I want to be able to put inside of here is a button. So I'm going to bounce back over here, and you can see that it's taken up all the space in the world. Then I'm going to go into form widgets again, and I'm going to grab myself a button, drag it over here. Let's see if it goes in. Nope, didn't go inside of there. No problem. Just go back into activity_main, bounce down here. And there is my button. Where is my button? There it is. Okay, so let's just grab the button and put it in the right place all on our own. Do that. I'm just going to bounce inside the table row, throw the button inside of there. And I'm going to come in here and actually give this a name that actually makes sense. So I'm going to go enter stock symbol button right there. Let everything else be exactly the same, and don't add a layout weight. What that's going to do is it's going to give the button its available space, and it's going to give the text view its available space, and then edit text is going to take up all the remaining space. So that's what's going on with that. And then for the text area, I'm going to come in here, and if you ever want to get a string out of your strings.xml file, just @string, and then this is going to be enter stock symbol, right like that. Jump back over into graphical layout, and you can see that there it is. That's exactly what I want. So now what I need to do is go in here and actually define the little text box that's going to pop up, and then underneath that's going to be the scroll view that we're going to create in a second. Well, for this, I'm going to pretty much do the same thing. Just going to go into, well, I hit the wrong button. I need to click on layouts. There it is, and just go table row and drag it over here and drop it in. And there it is. Bounce back down into activity main and just verify that everything's the same. So match parent, want that, make sure, yep, say yes. Say here, you want to make sure that these table rows are always match parent, so that's good. And then let's say that I want to actually have a different color in my background for my table row. Pretty easy to do. So I have table row 2 selected over here. If I want to change the color for it, I'm just going to have to search for background and click on that. That's in view. And then we can come in here to color, and you can see eggshell is available. That guy that I created earlier. So now the table row has that guy. Now, if I wanted to actually put another text view inside of that table row, what I'm going to do is come in here and go form widgets, grab text view, drag it down, drop it in, and you can see that the eggshell pops up inside of there. Now with that selected, so come in here, text view, and this is going to be stock symbol text view. That's fine. Hit OK. I'm going to skip this part from now on so don't waste your time. And then inside of text view, where it has the text that's going to show up, click on that, and I'm going to search for stock symbol list. Click on that, and there you see there is stock symbols and quotes pops up inside of there. Now, I don't really like the way this is left justified, and I also don't really like the fact that the text is so small. So if I want to change the text on this, what I'm going to do is come over here again to values and click on dimensions.xml. I can change the text size in there. Click on dimensions.xml at the bottom. And if I want to define a custom size here, no problem, paste that in there, and let's give this a name. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to give it a name very similar to what I just typed in. So stock list text size, and then I'm just going to change this to 16 SP, and file save that. And also I think I'm going to change my margins a little bit. I'm going to change this to 5 dp and change this to 5 dp also. And that's just going to be the margins around all the different things, components in my activity. So I got that saved. That's dimensions.xml. Close that. So there we go. And I still don't like the way that this is set up, so I'm going to go back down into activity main.xml. And I can do it over on the right side of the screen. Some reason I just prefer doing it inside of here. And also for this guy, I'm going to copy match parent, and I'm going to copy that down inside of here because I'm going to want to center it, and I want it to fill up the whole entire space, so that's fine. Another thing I'd like to define is how many columns this component's going to take up in my table row. And if you want to do that, you can just go Android, and it's going to be span, and it just does exactly, remember this is a table, so we're going to define how many different, it's actually not span, it's layout span. I'm just defining how many columns it's going to take up, and I'm just going to mark this as 2. If I want this to be centered, actually let's do this elsewhere so that you can see all the options. Let's bounce over into graphical layout again. If I want this to be centered, I just have to select it, of course, and then over here I'm going to look for gravity. And what this is going to do is define if a component's going to be centered or right justified or left justified. And actually there's a whole bunch of different options. So there's gravity right there, and it's inside of the text view, a little drop down there. So come over here, click on this, and you can see there are all the different options that are available to you. I'm going to have it be center horizontal just because that works for me. I'm going to hit OK. You can see, look at that, it's centered. Okay, so that's how you would do that. I'll save it. And anything else that I would want to do, let's say I already have my padding defined as 5 dp. Wouldn't hurt to actually come in here and do this. This is how you would define padding. Just go Android padding is equal to, and I'm just going to put 5 dp. If I want to make sure that the color is black for this guy, I could also just go Android text color is equal to, and then you're going to go at color / black. There, that is defined. And then if I want to come in here and define the dimensions for my text, because remember I wanted to change that, I can go in here and go Android text size is equal to, and to get things out of the dimension.xml file, you go at dimen / and this is going to be stock list text size, which is what I called it. Now if I click on graphical layout, you can see there it is. It is now centered, and it's also black. All good things. Now, if I want to put a scroll view inside of this guy, what I'm going to have to do, and what a scroll view is, it's going to allow me to dynamically add symbols, stock symbols, and those buttons and all those different things. But what I need to do in that situation is put in another, click on Layouts, throw in another table row, just throw it in there right like that. And now that I have it selected, let's make sure that the background stays the same. So where's background at? There's background color. Click on that, come into color, eggshell. There we are. Click on that again. And then in this situation, I want a scroll view to show up inside of here. And to get that, you're going to want to click on Composite. There's Composite. And here is Scroll View. And you want to drag that over and drop it down inside of there. So there's your scroll view. Now that I have that selected, I'm going to come over here, give it a name that makes sense. I don't worry about the table rows because I don't really have anything to do with them. I'm not messing with them. So I just let them have generic names. And I'm going to call this stock scroll view. And whenever you create a scroll view, as you're going to see, you're actually going to have to put a table layout inside of it and then a whole bunch of components later on. So to do that, well, I'm just going to click on OK. Scroll down here inside this, and let's try this match parent like that. I'm also going to put the layout weight there just to make sure that it fills up the whole entire thing. This guy right here, copy, paste that in there. There that is. And then inside of the scroll view, I'm also going to do a couple other things. Well, I'm going to do match parent again because it's basically just going to scroll. That's what it's going to do, and it's going to hold a whole bunch of components inside of it. And then let's say I want to do Android layout span is equal to 2 again. Number of columns that we're going to be taking up. This is the only thing in there, so that'll work. And I'm going to put my padding inside of here again of 5dp to make sure that the padding works. And then inside of that, this is set up as linear layout. I want it to be a table layout. And that just goes in there automatically. I didn't put that in there. So now it's a table layout. And let's just make sure that it has a name that makes sense. Match parent is fine. Height, I'm actually going to change this back to wrap content so it doesn't take up too much space. Orientation doesn't matter because it's a table layout, so we can get rid of that altogether. And let's go and throw our padding of 5dp into this again. And then another thing I want to do is I want to make the column stretch. And what that means is by going in here and going Android stretch columns equal to yes, what that's going to do for me is to define that I want my components to expand in width to fit any extra space that is available. And that's what stretch columns means, which basically it kind of makes sense. And then now what I have left here, see, it fills the whole entire screen. Basically I'm going to put one more table row in here and it's just going to have a delete button on it. So I'm actually going to have to scroll out here to do that. Click on layouts and table row and just put it down here. Who cares if it doesn't even work? Yeah, see, it went in the wrong place. I don't care. I'm going to go back into activity main. Actually, that's kind of a nightmare if I think about it. I might as well just go in here and actually write that thing inside of there. So I'm just going to copy this table row like that. Come the whole way down here after this. Paste that. Then I'm going to go table row again. Copy. There we are. Match parent, wrap content, all good. Now I want to put a big giant button inside of there. Now it should be down inside of there. So form widgets. And I'm going to go and get myself a button. There it is. See, it's in the right place. Now, if I want this button to fill the whole entire table row, first thing I'm going to do is come over here to ID, delete that, button, delete, stocks button, inside of text, click on that, delete all symbols, just double click on it, and now it says delete all symbols. However, if I want this to actually come in here and fill the whole entire area, to do that, I'm going to come the whole way down here where the button is, and just let wrap content and all these other things stay exactly the same. I'm just going to come up here and grab a Android layout span, copy that, paste that in there with the button, and then I'm going to do the same exact thing with layout weight. And then I'll make sure it fills the whole entire screen, or the whole entire row anyway. And if we bounce out here, you can see there it is. There's our whole entire layout. Went a little bit crazy. There we are. That is the layout that we defined before. Now the final thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to actually create the rows that are going to go into our scroll views. And remember, that's going to happen dynamically. Well, to have that information go inside of there, what you're going to need to do is come over here where it says layout, and you're going to want to create yourself another layout inside of there. So come up here, go new, XML file, where is it? There it is. And there it opened up. And then inside of this guy, I'm going to call this stock quote row, and I'm actually going to define this as a table row. So let's just find table row here, double click on that, and then hit next, and I don't care, and hit finish. Okay, so now this guy is actually going to be the rows that are going to be dynamically added to our scroll view. So if I want to create these guys, down here in this tab area, There you can see it's defined as a table row. Match parent, that's going to be perfectly fine. I'm going to change the height to wrap content though. There we are. And then since these table rows are going to be on top of that eggshell sort of scroll view, if you want to actually have them be set up as transparent so that the color of whatever it's sitting on top of shows up, just go equals at Android color transparent, and that it will make it transparent. And then the other thing, let's say that I want to add padding to it as well. Well, I'm just going to show you what padding looks like elsewhere. Graphical layout, table row, come in here. Where's padding? There's padding right there. Click on that. And in this situation, I'm just going to let it be 5 dp like it is there and hit OK. And then it'll give me padding. And then inside of this, what I'm going to do is populate a text view and 2 buttons dynamically. So I'm going to grab a text view from the form widgets over here. And there is my table row. Come over here. Stock symbol text view, and then I'm automatically going to come in here and throw 2 buttons in also. So there's a button and there's another button, and I'm going to go in here and actually edit them. And here I'm going to let these be wrap content. The text view, I want to completely fill the whole entire area, not taken up by buttons. So I'm going to go Android layout span is equal to 2, Android layout weight is equal to 1, and I'm not going to define a weight for the other one, so it's just going to do exactly what I just said. It's going to take up all available space. If I want to also come in here just to review and change the text color, just go text color at color black, which is something that I defined before. And then if I want to make the text selectable, I can go Android, because I hate it whenever I want to select text and it's not available. Text is selectable, and set that to true. And this guy right here, I don't need at all. File save. And then down here for our buttons, I'm just going to call this guy my stock quote button, which whenever it's clicked, it's going to go and get me a quote. I'm going to let that wrap content. And let's say that I actually want this to use a smaller size for my button. How you would do that is to go style is equal to @ symbol Android, or you could just pick the small style attribute / button style small, and we're getting more into these styling tools later on in the tutorial. And the text for this guy I'm going to define here in a second because I kind of forgot it. And then for this one, I'm also going to define this for style small. This is going to be the button that's going to grab the website quote from web button. And then I'm going to bounce out of this, click on my button, stock quote button, under text, click on that, and it is get stock quote, it says quote. And then for this guy, click on that, go to website, and there it is. So that's all I'm going to cover in this first part of this guy, setting up the application. The next part, I'm going to set up all the event listeners and a whole bunch of other things, pretty much everything except parsing XML, which is going to be in a separate tutorial all on its own. But like I said, if you want all the code and everything is available in a description underneath the video. And of course, always feel free to ask any questions. Till next time.